Whether that's going to be banned away or whether Snake just leave it up and just say, we can deal with this. We have the victor.
A lot of team fight potential on it.
Dade has played Vladimir 3 times, was sort of the original player to really have that one banned away from him consistently. From the very beginning of this split, no one let him have it.
It's such a weird pick now. Vladimir is great, don't get me wrong, but with a lot of mid lane picks like the Talia, unless
Tank hasn't played it yet, has historically been, you know, one to take a little bit more time picking up these ones, as it is going to be Malzahar opted in for on the side of Snake, and this is something that Tank has played and is a matchup that can be sometimes relatively difficult for Vladimir, just because he doesn't have that instant wave clear right off the bat.
Yeah. And so it is going to be difficult for that Vladimir, but remember, to the very core of it, even though we've nearly always seen Vladimir in the mid lane. Don't hover it! Don't hover that, Teemo. We know what happens to people who hover Teemo.
They lock in Teemo.
They just lock it in.
Yep. That's the problem.
But yeah, to the very core of it, Vladimir is technically a flex pick, so you can put it on V.
Then be flexing that Malzahar. Coaches shake hands. Let's get into game number 2 between Newbee and Snake. Thank you very much, Dade, and here we are onto the Rift for game number 2 between Newbee and Snake. Newbee now on our blue side. We'll see whether they'll be able to pick up the victory. They have the Vladimir pick. They gave it away from Dade to Via towards the top side of the map, and then Snake did the same thing with the flexible Malzahar.
Yeah, so Snake is always going to be one step ahead of you. Try to be too cute with your pick and bang. You realize Flannery's like, you know what? I can play anything. Give me Tarek. And
exactly.
Like, give me Tarek. He's like, wait a minute.
I can't Bastion anyone. Oh, no.
Actually, just kidding. I'll take the Malzahar instead.
Yeah, yep. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so Newbee setting themselves up. They do have their bottom lane towards the bot side at the moment. But you can see Martin thinking about it back. Let's see whether that is going to be completed. No, it's not.
So here's, I have to criticize Newbee. What are you doing? You picked the Vladimir. I know it's a flex pick. We all know it's a flex pick.
Yep.
But you don't know which top laner you're going into. You're putting yourself in such a poor position because if you try and lane swap with a Vladimir, it's just as bad. So now they got to figure out, they do have the Elise. So now Malzahar is in a bit of a troubled situation where he's going to be, or at least has to be, the focus of some ganks. So
yeah.
Now SOFM has to focuses on him now. How's he going to play with it?
It does have the Gragas, so a lot of early gank pressure available. Dark Spear does come down. Tank trying to offer back a Thunderlord's proc and gets it. And lands his second Sphere as well, so eventually wins out in the trade. Dade still going to be relatively comfortable though. Just wants to find that Q damage. Doesn't get the second proc. This tank should be fine here in this lane.
Yeah, Snake is in a bit of an interesting position where their standard lanes, or at least their solo laners, are easily gankable.
Dade, lots of damage down here as Tank down to about 200. A fight for level 2 now on the bottom side of the map. Good boomerang damage, but Happy dodges the second tick. As far as sort of lane combinations, we were talking about Sivir Nami, the fact that that has some power. How about Tarek Sivir? How you feeling about it?
Feels pretty good. Going up against Alistair, it's the same idea against Trundle, where if Trundle looks to all in, headbutt Pulve, then Tarek is a great reactionary pick where he can just pretty much pick you up. Say, hey, you know what? You're stepping a little bit too far up. Get to the stuns down, and of course, the Sivir is going to be able to follow up, especially up against Jhin. Now, Jhin it's a fine pick into Sivir, but you walk far too forward, you'll have some problems.
Yeah. Well, JZ is actually coming up looking for Swift. Dade comes down as well, but not a lot of mana. Flandre taking some damage from V here. Of course, sustain still in favor of the Vladimir, as Flandre now considering going back home.
Yeah, so how long is too long for this lane, right? Because if you suddenly a top lane is far
Whoa,
different.
Flandre forced to use the flash. The
One
last
more
auto
auto.
attack, will it be there? No, it won't. So double flash is used. Flandre survives for the moment.
So yeah, long lane is very punishing for both of these champions. Much more so for the Malzahar. Flandre has to shove out naturally, but if he is ever able to freeze up the lane or put it into a position where honestly it has to be really uncomfortable for Flandre, where he has to just walk very slowly. Remember, Nerf has come down on Malzahar. He's a little bit slower.
Yeah, by
So-
5 movement speed, yeah.
Yeah, so a longer lane is going to be a lot more taxing. So now, of course, now he's going to have to deal with the trading that comes from V. Able to go in whenever he wants if the lane is in his side, which it always will be. So now he's going to have to worry about the ganks, but now he has to worry about the matchup.
Well, right now Flandre gets himself back in, does have himself the shield, and will continue to shove these waves through. When V can ignore, the minion waves, then things would be okay. SOFM was thinking about a potential dive, actually.
Yeah,
Doesn't get it.
wasn't going to happen. He was far too healthy. So that's going to be the struggle. Struggle for SOFM, a jungler who's usually free
Yeah.
to do what he wants, but now he has to be tied to the top lane and the mid lane. There is not going to be much pressure coming out to help out Martin and Jezzo. So he needs to be helping out pretty much the matchups going top side, which right now Vladimir actually has a CS lead in.
Yeah, 32-26. Andre now no longer has his shield available as well. We'll see whether the Malzahar is going to be able to get his foot back into this lane. Double Doran's ring, but no sustain now available to him. And good wave positioning from V.
Oh, I love this from Swift. Goes back, gets the boots mobility.
And jets towards the top lane. Slash
Yeah,
mid
actually,
lane.
he can go any lane he wants. He can go top, but mid is also just as vulnerable. So great from SOFM to pretty much walk straight at him. He
Yeah.
knows he has the combat power.
He's funneling him right now. As Dade gets stunned up, takes a lot of damage from tank. Almost has level 6 as well. That unleashed power will be very strong, but in goes more. Dazzle
watch
comes
out.
down. Lots of damage coming in here. As Jay-Z throws down the Radiance.
That's what I'm talking about. You headbutt Paul for a trade. You will lose that trade. Tark will be able to follow up.
Speaking of follow-up, Tank throws it down. The last auto attack isn't
There
there.
we
It
go.
is, and Tank grabs first blood 1v1.
That's Syndra. Able to get
My
the
God.
kill. One more auto attack left. Miscalculated, but of course gets that flash.
Old Syndra would have got it, you know. Oh, wait, hang on. Not level 9 just yet, so passive not going to actually change things too much.
Yeah, great work from Syndra. I was really worried for her because Swift would be able to impact the matchup, but SOFM is doing so well and just literally sitting on top of Swift.
And denying him in his own camp instantly kills it. So we have a look at their faces as well.
This is incredible.
Oh my, is he going to do it again?
Because honestly, I was really worried for SOFM. He was in a poor situation where he has to help out both lanes, but what's better help than actually just sitting and watching Elise? Elise can't impact any of these matchups. So now, oh my
Whoa, in he
God.
goes. There's the explosive casters. Dazzle comes down as well. SOFM grabs the kill, and Swift can't do anything. The 1-2-3 punch from Snake, and they grab their second kill.
Yeah, and they take advantage of the newbie bottom lane going back. But you have to recognize that if you're newbie, you know that you're heading back to base. You can't take, you have to at least know where they could be. So they didn't take the fight, but they definitely were overextending. Dade needs to start watching out for himself, especially since he did not have flash.
Yeah, and it's once again that story of Victor having trouble when he gets forced to go back at inopportune times. Now the double Doran's ring comes in. The boot's down as well. Buys himself a pink ward and that refillable potion, but that's not an upgraded hex core, and wants to have that in this matchup against the Syndra, where you give her too much time. That low cooldown on the Q, the fact that she's able to move around while throwing that one out gives her so much flexibility. And if you're hanging around a creep wave, you're not going to have a good time, as SOFM looks to do it again.
Yeah, and so you got one big thing about Syndra. I
Oh, there's
like this.
another stun.
Oh,
Half his health bar.
exactly. And so this is something I didn't really miss about Syndra as a champion, is that she has probably the most setup in the game, especially if you lead in with your ulti damage, because then you just spread the field with your orbs.
Well, there's the Nethergrass coming down. Boomerang lands onto V, who immediately flashes out of the way. The dazzle avoided by the pull. That's a big cooldown now.
Oh, this is really great from Snake. Not only do they look for that opportunity, they burn the flash from Vlad, but that is just an automatic lane swap that now Newbee has to react to. And they have the Jhin to boot. So, yeah, they seem to be getting the Dragon. And that might be just fine, right? But they're not going to be able to answer with this tower.
And they already had the vision set up towards the top side of the map as well, so they can do this knowing full well that they're going to be absolutely fine. Now looking to push forward as well as SOFM grabs Rift Scuttler vision. They will get notified at this Dragon's death as Swift locks that one down. So big Dragon pickup for Newbee. But is it going to be worth it as Snake are pulling ahead? 2,000 gold in the farm.
This is awful, awful, awful work for Newbee. They are now trading. Sure, they got the Dragon, but you have to...
More hanging around in this lane, though, so it will just be the entire top side obliterated by Snake.
Yeah.
Answered for by one turret on the bottom side of the map. So good bit of change picked back up by Newbee, but it's still 2,000 gold the lead for Snake.
Now, good news for V is that he's going to be able to pick up these few more waves for free, right? But in the long term, this is fairly bad for him because he's going to be a little bit too focused on these pushes. He has to start worrying about this.
It's another mage that has to pick up a QSS as well.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Malzahar is a lot more free to help out Snake in these plays. So it's a bit of an investment for Snake. Not only do they get the towers, but now Malzahar can always help out in these plays. Go straight towards bottom lane. Really great look for him. But if this does not work, then it'll be great for Vladimir because he can't pick those waves up.
Well, there's the chain CC landing on a SOFM. Dazzle doesn't find more as the ricochets are flying through. Newbee not taking too much damage. It's only a BF sword on Martin for the moment. But Tank's roaming down. Pink Ward sees him. Newbee are able to get themselves out. No flashes expended. Curtain call comes down from Happy, just trying to clear this one out. But this is going to be brute forced. This turret holding onto the last bullet. Now Moore tries to find his way in. Gets a nice knock up onto Martin. The minions now die. Snake have to wait for the next minion wave, but do Newbee have the answers to stop them taking down this outer turret?
No, they're not even looking to help. All they were trying to do is to stall it. Maybe they'll look to save this tower. They shouldn't be doing so because Vlad has been topside looking to pretty much farm up a storm and maybe threaten this tower. Well, he only gets half of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it doesn't happen, and Flandre is able to pick up all of that farm heading in there, so utilized all of his strength and then picked up all of the farm at the same time. Snake look to be flexing their muscles here in this game.
Yeah,
but a team that had a pretty subpar cross-conference.
That's true.
Looking really good in this game against Newbee.
I think one team that's definitely recognized the weaknesses of Snake is Snake themselves.
Yeah.
They've looked back at pretty much their aggression, kind of toned down a bit on that, but more so they've found a lot more smarts, I suppose, on that front. SOFM has been a lot more efficient in his movements. He's always been an efficient farmer, right, and an aggressor, but it comes down to letting the rest of the map know. And so him and Tank lately have been doing really well and playing with each other.
Yeah. SOFM, of course, playing a little bit more intelligent League of Legends as well. I mean, tracking the enemy jungler, making sure that he knows where the Elise is. She can't get that early gang pressure down. Gets enough pressure onto Dade to give a lead to Tank. These sorts of things.
Yeah, exactly. He's definitely is able to adapt game per game. He knows his role in almost every game he goes into, and so in this one, it was a bit of a difficult one for him because he knew that both of his matchups were vulnerable to ganks, and he was going up and against Elise, so what better to do than to find that Elise?
Yeah. Did so fantastically. SOFM now with the Merc Treads as well as another Null Magic Mantle will nullify these 3 magic damage dealers that are going to be coming in. More. Pulverize comes down. Of course, the passive blocks that one off. Voidling not going to be able to tank that one for Flandre, who doesn't have the flash, and he's headbutted back into V, who pulls on top of him. Swift is going to turn up as well just to make sure that they're definitely getting that kill, and they do so. Now Snake looking to put pressure back on here in the mid lane.
Yeah, much needed kill. It looks like Snake's trying to take this, but I know that Newbee's looking to probably look to intercept.
Yeah, coming down from the top side. Tank now moving to their strong side of the map, or at least their not weak side of the map. And Newbee do save the turret.
Yeah, so all Snake gets from it, of course, is their good amount of vision control in the red side jungle. They chunk out the mid turret. Maybe they can do the same to this tower as well.
Oh, it is going to take a fair bit of damage, the Snake bottom lane, if they decide to stay, but they don't. And so SOFM moves back into his jungle. Has started to respawn there as well, so wants to lock down his wolf camp. Tank moves back here into this lane. Yeah, Dade might have to be a little bit careful as Cull the Weak was being... Sorry, Scatter the Weak. Flying around there in the mid lane from Tank. With the bottom lane turning up.
It was good that he was able to catch them out. If he had not seen them, they definitely would have looked to pick him out. That's been the sad life of victors lately.
Well, you can see now, 7 seconds until this Infernal Drake is up. And Snake really want to be able to lock this one down.
Ooh, if they can force a smite on this, it looks like they're not even going to look to do that.
Yeah, Swift just takes down his red buff. Snake now want to take the time, shove out this wave in the mid lane, see if they can get pressure, deter Newbee from getting round. Body Slam doesn't connect. SOFM gets the Bastion out of JZ. No Dazzle to be thrown out just yet. SOFM waiting over to the side. They've started off this Dragon. Flandre's here, over to the side, but Newbee are setting themselves up. They're in position. Teleport at the ready here for V, as JZ doesn't find the Dazzle. Swift looking to try and make his way in. He will get there, but he's not going to be able to take away the Dragon. Teleport from V, wants the Hemo Plague, dash cannons his way in. Good 3-man, but it is going to be the ultimate coming out of JZ to keep them alive. SOFM wanders his way out. Orb doesn't land, and Tank taking a lot of damage. Pulls the ultimate out of Tank as well and avoids himself the stun. Snake do grab themselves their Infernal, but Newbee get the inside track on this outer turret.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to take it down, I'm pretty sure, but that was... Camera didn't show it, but that was a great Tarek ulti.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it really negated that Vladimir ult. That's been one of the many ways of using Tarek lately.
Yeah.
Major reason, actually, that it's been coming back is that it works fairly well up against that Vladimir. Whenever Vladimir looks to go in, output as much AoE damage as possible, he gets denied.
Well, Newbee move towards the top side of the map, looking to try and even out this turret count. But actually are backing away. Notice that Snake are moving up. Flandre's going to get here. Not even able to take down this outer turret either. So Flandre grabs it.
And they're able to respond with their own push here. That's definitely...
Tank, there's the flash headbutt pole, but Tank flashes out of the way. Good barrel comes in, but Moore has the Unbreakable Will. Is going to be okay. SOFM gets stunned up. A Deadly Flourish not going to be able to take him there for too long. SOFM body slams away.
Yeah, burns the Unbreakable Will. That's been the story of the laning phase. Now for the rest of the game, it feels. Whenever he looks to all in, flash, or just like headbutt pole, Tark is able to follow up. And of course, once you get that stun long enough, it looks like the rest of the team will do the same.
Well, you can see Snake with a fair bit of wave clear here as well in the mid lane. If Tank can land those orbs right. Still with a gigantic CS lead. 40% CDR. Also 30% there for Flandre as well. These majors getting to their fun stages of this game. And double Morellonomicon. Pretty good against the Vladimir.
It really is. And with just look at how much MR is being stacked on right now in the game. Because there is a lot of magic damage. Magic damage
Yeah, from both teams.
From both teams, exactly. So the real key now is how much damage are the AD carries going to be able to do. Sure, they're going to be threatened by the Malzahar, by the Vladimir. There's a lot of threat coming in. But honestly, you look at the Sivir and you recognize that she's going to be providing a lot more utility to Snake, but also she's just going to be putting out so much crit damage.
Yeah, and so much more safe damage as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Just with the fact that your auto attacks are able to spread to the back line, whereas it's just Happy with his Deadly Flourish with his ultimate. It's able to get there. As Rift Herald just pokes his head out. Wants to be part of the story for his last minute of time on this Summoner's Rift. So FM smites himself away this Rift Scuttler. He's had a bit of a monopoly on the area, is more thinking about heading in, but it doesn't go. Deadly Flourish doesn't land, but the Dancing Grenade's there at least. Happy taking a fair bit of damage. This pink ward will fall down, and Snake do have control now of this Baron Pit as it is about to spawn. Scatter the weak lands onto more, but of course no follow-up comes in onto the Alistar.
So pretty much it feels like a game of ARAM here.
With Flandre ignoring the rules. He was that one guy in old ARAM when you had to play it in custom games that sort of tilted off the face of the earth and said, nah, I'm just going to farm side lanes.
Report that guy.
Yeah, no, you got to. Don't let him come into the next one. Thankfully now ARAMs only have one lane.
Oh, that's
so
true.
Okay.
Probably one of the better changes.
Give it its own map. You're going to be okay. It's now Newbee setting up with Swift and Happy to defend this turret, but it is very, very low.
Yeah, they have this turret 100%. They have the lanes pushing on the sides. They don't have to worry right now when it comes to losing waves.
Looking for it, gets in there. Tank's going to be locked down. The ultimate comes out, but it doesn't activate enough from Jay-Z as the Chaos Storm's onto him. Really good explosive cast with the disengage as the curtain call comes in, but it's unable to lock down the targets at once, and it's only one kill so far here for Newbee.
He just did not trust Martin on that one.
Nope.
Tank flashes, or at least no, Flandre flashes away, even though Martin was already in front of him. So that was really good for Newbee. That was incredible for Newbee, but that was a desperation headbutt pulverize. Because they had...
Wow, SOFM, calm down.
Whoa.
Lands a barrel.
Okay,
It's doing a fair bit of damage.
Yeah, Snake had the lanes. They had everything going for them. They could have definitely pushed to look for that tower, but they didn't need to do it anytime soon. They could have actually elongated that to next wave, right? They have the time because essentially Newbee had to answer those waves sooner or later because they were losing a lot of gold. But looks like they were going to look to do it now, though.
Yeah, Martin is going to be able to get there. Grabs that turret, takes a heck of a lot of damage. Doesn't get the spell shield in time for the Death Ray, but still able to lock down that turret. So good news. As SOFM doesn't want to take the dragon in 30 seconds. He wants to go back home, grab himself possibly a Spirit Visage as he looks to set up. Tank now, Abyssal Scepter done. That's his 40% CDR item. See what he builds next. Whether he goes for that death cap. Straight damage. Smack people around. Probably wants Void Staff next item.
That's true. Void Staff would be fairly strong right now. Trying to figure out which one he would look to go for, Rylai's Crystal Scepter or that Rabadon's Death Cap. I want to say the Rylai's.
Yeah,
so
like a bit of utility.
Yeah, so the utility would be really good. They already have enough damage coming from Vladimir and Jin.
Dazzle doesn't find Swift. Martin makes his way in. Good cocoon, but Body Slam gets SOFM out. Jay-Z controlling all of his buttons, giving the health back to SOFM and Martin. Martin running around, does have himself a Null Magic Mantle, wants to get himself a QSS or something like a Hex Drinker.
Snake has to start this. Vladimir is pressuring the top side.
Yeah, inner turret actually very, very low. Snake do get themselves into the pit. Swift misses his cocoon as the lineup of the ultimate comes out of Happy. The curtain call is going to come in. So on the hunt now being blown. Snake want to find this fight, but V, of course, can make his way down. Is already here. Snake can't find their way in.
Really proper formation from Newbee. They made it very difficult to engage on them. So SOFM right now the only engaging force other than perhaps the pick potential coming from Tank. They couldn't find anything. So they gave up the dragon. They gave up pretty much in a 4v5 situation. And honestly, that was the right call. They couldn't find anything on that one.
So, still, almost 3,000 gold the lead for Snake, but this tower is going to fall down. That scat of the week didn't knock down more. One more auto attack.
Oh,
No!
get an AD
still
carry
another
in
one.
there.
Yeah, please. Hit it with some actual force, guys.
This is one of the many downsides of just having only mages on your team.
Now Malzahar and Sivir get to the minion wave, and no longer can Newbee push that one up.
Which comes down to the fact that I'm fairly surprised not a lot of kills in the 23-minute mark, because right now Newbee, the only way they're going to be able to get much pressure in their game is going to be through these fights. They do really want to look for those 5v5 fights. Maybe even those skirmishes just the same. And the same goes for Snake just as well. They can look for those team fights. They probably do want to look for them. Not a lot of pushing power other than perhaps the Sivir, but you don't want to commit your AD carry to do that. And so, yeah, looks like we're going to be looking for team fights to be deciding this.
Yeah, and of course Snake want to wait until Martin is team fight ready as well. Doesn't have the critical strike built up just yet. Doesn't have the Infinity Edge done for those massive crits.
Yeah, why would you
some time?
Why would you pick a fight when you know you can get far stronger than where you are now? So they're playing it patiently, very smart on their terms, long enough, and you'll at least will even be feeling the burn. Falls out quite a bit.
Yeah. Now looking for proto belt of his own is Swift. Bit of extra CDR now, up to 20% on the Elise. You can see Dade, perfect hex core completed. Going for the Rylai's. Is his next item. No QSS for anyone other than V. So Flandre could be an option as far as starting these fights.
And every game seems like do or die right now for Newbee. They need to win this game. Now Snake is
well, this is so important for Newbee.
Yeah, and Snake is sitting pretty comfortable, I'd say.
Well, they've locked in second at this stage. Not looking like they're going to be moved out of that position, especially not playing like this. Up a game, up a few hundred gold. Is SOFM actually going to get picked out? Big headbutt Pole. He's just too far forward. There's the ultimate set up as Tank trying to dodge out of the way. Moves apart from it, flashes in the end as the Baron gets mad at the Syndra.
Don't even know what honestly drove
A bit of an odd move.
So it only turned into a tower, thankfully. Didn't go into an outright Baron fight, which I think should have been the call. Especially since you know you're not going up against the jungler. You have, like right now, Snake has to walk in regardless, and that would be the fight they'd want to pick. So they go for the safe choice. Right now, Newbee seems to be looking for that safe choice. We talk about how much they need these games. Well,
yeah.
Right now, they're trying to take everything one step at a time.
You can see there's pings onto the red buff. Newbee, of course, know that that one is coming up. Martin clearing out vision here with Jay-Z helping out. Boomerang stops Swift's back. Says that's annoying. But nothing too much going to come from it. Snake unable to clear this vision at the moment. SOFM's going to make his way back in, though. Does have his sweeper. And V pushing out the bottom wave. See whether Snake decide to put pressure on this Baron pit now. Newbee are set up relatively well, but they don't have the vision of the pit or the area. And they're going to just start it up immediately. Scrying Orb comes in. SOFM gets rid of it. Looks like Snake actually want to take this one down.
Yeah.
Newbee putting themselves in position. Ultimate from Taric is going to be so important. And V not going to pull the trigger on his teleport just yet. Pings go out on the top side of the map, and the Vladimir does need to be answered by someone.
Yeah. And so Newbee definitely needs to respect that, because with Malzahar, you can just do Baron for free without taking any damage.
Yeah.
They were almost there. They pretty much 60% of that HP was gone on Baron, and honestly, 0 damage being taken from Snake. So Snake could have very easily took that fight if they had wanted to.
All right, now lots of backs coming in. Some items being picked up by everyone. Of course, Spirit Visage done here for SOFM. We've got the first BF sword now picked up for Martin. Well, theoretically his second, but the first one as far as those bits of Infinity Edge are concerned. skipped out on finishing that non-magic mantle item, depending on which he wants to pick up. He wants to get to that Infinity Edge as quickly as he can.
Yeah, and we do see that Rylai's Crystal Scepter from Victor. That's really well done from him. Does need to watch out because he does not have QSS, something that only, honestly, Vladimir has. But you have to watch out because they do have quite a bit of CC coming in. It's not only Malzahar.
That flash engage from Flandre could actually be a big deal. We saw how effective it was getting rid of tanks, Victor, from these teamfights very early when we were seeing Snake playing out that side of the matchup. That dragon falls. Ocean Drake picked up by Newbee. It is 3 dragons now done. Infernal, Mountain, and Ocean. Only the Infernal Drake done here for Snake. So we are going to see, I believe, 1 more dragon, unless the next one's going to be an Elder. Not entirely sure. As there's the Dazzle. Ultimate comes out from Moore. Big cooldown. Not so big now that he's got some cooldown reduction.
But every game means so much at this point. You can't be making those mistakes, especially since Newbee is at a good point.
Immediately started up.
Why are you making these mistakes? Right now, Newbee always finds themselves at these advantages.
Oh, the Baron is just getting destroyed right now. Last bullet does a lot of damage to SOFM, but they do lock down the Baron. Empowered recall's going off. Snake just looking to try and disengage, and that's all too easy without the jungler on the side of Newbee.
And it really just comes down to being a team, like, because you get these leads consistently. Like last game was a point where, sure, they didn't get a gold lead, but they had proper positioning, right? Where they could have won these fights if they had looked for those flanks. But this game is a completely different demon, where they did have the gold lead. And on top of that, they were making the proper plays. They had the dragon lead. But then they know they don't have Baron vision. Why don't you call the rest of your team to help you out? You can't be walking in alone. So Moore gets completely caught out. He wastes his ulti. He has to back away. And then Newbee and then Swift does the same. So they're just getting picked out.
But after Swift died, they used 2 scrying orbs. Why not use one of them just to spot out where they are? See, beforehand.
It just comes down to the small things, and the small things do really matter.
And there's a possible face check as well. Swift is going to get nethergrasped and destroyed. The disengage comes out from the barrel from SOFM as Chaos Storm's doing a lot of damage to Flandre and JZ, but decent sustain coming in. As Martin now looking to try and help take down this inner turret. Lots of damage now out of the Sivir, who's finished her Hex Drinker. Doesn't quite have the Infinity Edge just yet. And misses the extra mana. And tanking up that spell-shielded Deadly Flourish. Minion waves dying fairly quickly. As Dade does have basically instant wave clear. But Snake now setting themselves up to try and get this one pushed through. Big wave on the top side of the map. We'll see whether Flandre actually wants to go over there. But the wave pushing in the mid lane, actually in favor of Newbee.
Yeah, so they don't have the priority on mid lane, and mid lane does have the inner tower still open, but they do want to zero in on this inhib tower.
Now, big scatter the weak stun actually coming out onto both V and Moore.
No spell shield on Sivir.
Also no damage on this inhibitor turret. It's now V moving up there towards the top side. We'll see whether this means Snake can utilize the 4 versus 5 that they have for the moment, but it's not going to be for very long, as V instantly obliterates all those caster creeps.
Yeah, they weren't really... It feels... You can tell they weren't really comfortable or really knew how to utilize this comp, because ordinarily, you have a tank top laner, or you just have like some hyper damage, someone who could stick on you like an Echo, right?
Yeah.
Then that would have been a fine look for him. You can maybe even zone them off the turret if you're an Echo. Very easy.
Whoa, good stun on the V.
But with Malzahar top, you really cannot do much in terms of getting these towers and sieging. It really just comes down to the fact that you need these team fights.
Looks like it's Poke that Snake are utilizing right now. See Tank with 40% CDR. Actually able to get those Scatter the Weaks happening quite nicely. Martin throwing out decent amount of damage. Dazzle comes in but doesn't find any stuns. SOFM throws out an ultimate through the backside just to make sure that they lock down the turret. And Newbee just can't find their way in. Can't get anything done. And Snake now with a 6,000 gold lead look to pressure somewhere else.
So all inner towers are down for Newbee. They need to really figure out how to get back into this game. They are 1 game away from losing to Snake 2-0.
Yeah, and Dade, you can see A lot of concentration in his eyes. It's going to be a lot about what this Victor can achieve come the late game. The Vladimir as well, someone else that we're going to be looking towards. And Happy needs to get a lot of damage in. Martin clears out this minion wave. I wonder whether this means that 2.2 thousand gold that he needs in order to get that Infinity Edge. Probably not there just yet, but he's streaking ahead in the farm. 40 CS up, despite the 2 kill advantage for Happy.
Yeah, and it just comes back to the fact that it's really difficult for a Jhin to farm these side lanes. He really does need to end up rotating mid, looking for those plays, kind of like the Ashe, honestly. And so he's going to get out-farmed as the game progresses. Not going to be having much access to these goals. Like, for instance, this bottom lane, he definitely cannot afford to walk there.
Well, right now, Baron not up. About 2 minutes. Newbee just trying to set up vision their side of the jungle. More slowed by the Rylai's. Void Staff, meaning that Flandre doing a fair bit of damage now. The Infinity Edge Sivir has just joined this team. Snake are desperate for a fight. SOFM possibly could get caught out here as V comes down. Dash cannon onto Martin. Oh my god, demolished by Happy immediately at the beginning of this fight. Good use of the W out of tank helps him out as Flandre flashes the wall. Scrying Orb spots out his position. Newbee not going to be able to get to the Baron, but can they get an Elder Drake off this?
It seems like at the very least they can get the fight for this. They can look for this pick, maybe even look in this bush.
Right now, no vision available for Snake around this area. Deathray comes in, slows down Tank. Deadly Flourish comes around as well as Tank gets stunned up, but
they do need to watch out. Bot lane is getting demolished by these minions now. And on top of that, Swift is rather low, so this dragon might do a bit too much damage.
Actually does half a reset there as well, so a bit of its health coming back. SOFM thinking about trying to get himself a ward over the side. Barrel lands into the pit, actually taking a fair bit of damage, but this inhibitor turret is going to fall down in the mid lane. The inhibitor going to fall just next, so no empowered recalls come in as SOFM has to fight V. He's stopping some recalls though. I mean, SOFM doesn't even really mind about this.
They got the inhib.
As the inhib does fall down, and now Snake just wait out the Elder Drake.
My god, it feels like at every point, Newbee think they have the answer. They got the Elder Dragon, the much needed Elder Dragon, but man, they lost the mid lane inhib for it. Definitely not the trade they were looking for, especially with the one-man advantage.
Well, on the hunt used from Martin here to try and get his team out of dodge. Swift is coming around the side, V there with him. But Snake do get themselves to their inner turret on the top side of the map, which is still relatively healthy. As SOFM comes back in as well. Deadly Flourish doesn't find anyone. This tank probably needs to go home, grab himself some more of his mana back. Maybe even a Rabbidan's Death Cap, which has just been completed. So 4 done items as well as the boots. And a slot for the pink ward here for tank.
So one good question here is, what is a dodge? And how do you get out of it?
Well, let's see whether they can. Elixir of Wrath for Martin there as well. Wants to get himself a little bit more lifesteal than what the Warlord's Bloodlust provides. And look, Newbee will have 30 seconds with this Elder Drake buff that they can try and take down this Baron buff, but it's going down very, very low. Can Snake get themselves in there? SOFM, bit of a demon with a smite. As On the Hunt has been popped, they're looking to try and get in amongst it more. In a good position, Swift will lock down the Baron, but can they get the fight as more? Already getting taken down very low. V right in there as Tank going to be able to tank up the damage. Swift goes up into the air, but not quite falling down just yet. SOFM's able to get it. You can see Martin over to the side, gets a decent ricochet off. Oh my god, this damage. They're not done with this fight. As Dade's in trouble. Happy as well. Boomerang doesn't land, but Martin is so healthy. And Newbee now moving to the wrong side of the map. SOFM still has a whole lot of CC to his name. Flash. Doesn't find the slowdown onto Happy as Snake still want to play this one careful.
They're just going to wait for the flash on SOFM.
Yeah, they're looking for it. Gravity Field comes in as there's the curtain call. They want to find SOFM. Flashes out of the way. In goes JZ. Does get the dazzle. And V does use his Sonya's Hourglass. He's possibly going to fall after this pull as Martin picks that one up. But you're just never too sure this game. As SOFM dies to Happy, Dade's in trouble as well. But Martin on the hunt comes down.
Oh my god,
not in the minion wave. Not like this as Martin cuts him down with a boomerang. And now Dade running through the enemy jungle, but Flandre's teleporting in, wants to try and get the flank. Can he get there? Speeds up. Dade's in his sights now. Moore comes over the side. But can he get the slow? Does with the Rylai's. There's the headbutt pole. Flandre in trouble, but gets knocked out of his ultimate immediately as Moore cannot be locked down. This game is absolutely insane, but Dade holds on to their one Baron buff.
When will this madness end? That
I don't want it to rest.
That's the longest fight I've seen in memory. I know there's longer fights than that, but that was just something.
That was a long one.
A long one.
I'll give you that.
It's definitely up there. Oh, good lord. But yeah, that one Baron buff being held, but at what cost?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, and I guess Newbee did do the right thing. They had the Elder Drake. They had a very short amount of time to use it to take down that Baron, but they did spend a lot of their health bars getting it down, and then Snake found themselves in a good position, and Martin now just does so much damage. More of Malmortius to come in next. Still just ignoring any sort of tank item. Sorry, any sort of armor shred item. It's because he feels like he doesn't need it. Probably wants a Mortal Reminder to stop V. But I mean, it feels like luxury at this stage because there's just no armor built up by Newbee at all.
Yeah, and so it really comes down to the... I feel like Newbee is playing these, in theory, very well. Like, the decisions are great. Going for the Baron was kind of a must-win situation, a power play where they knew that pretty much they were getting pressured mid through that inhib take. And so they had the Elder Dragon, they wanted the fight, came down to execution at that point. They lost the fight for that one, but it feels like at every point they really do rely on these desperation picks, because overall it feels like whenever they get a lead, they lose it by just, honestly, it feels like just team playing, discipline.
Yeah, it's just, or how on the same page they are, because Snake seemed to be just coming out ahead as far as these team fights. Flandre now has himself a Luden's Echo that he decided to pick up instead of a Rabbidan's. For some reason or another. Movement speed, of course, very useful now. Make up for that 5 lost speed that he got. 6.14. Also added burst damage, also a good idea. We've got an Elixir now sitting in the back pocket of tank. See what item he goes for next. Could be the Rylai's. I'd like that. Of course, already has 40% CDR, so that'd be wasted if you went for a Zhonya's. Could even go for something like a Guardian Angel so he doesn't get exploded at the beginning of a fight.
Guardian Angel would do well in terms of just creating a confusion and priority for the enemy team. Don't know who to burst out. Do you even want to focus down, remember, with Guardian Angel?
Yeah. Well, Snake now looking pretty content to wait for the next Baron, to be honest, or the next Dragon, depending on what they want to go for. Because right now, not pushing up any of these waves. Inhibitor spawns once again in the mid lane for Newbee, so able to push this one out. Flandre there to answer. Looks like Snake, with this composition, don't really want to make the first move.
Yeah, honestly, both teams don't want to. At this point, it feels like Newbee's safest bet is sitting back, getting pushed in, and hopefully getting that play, possibly from Moore, possibly from V. Just a flank play to get the fight going for them. So Dade actually has pressure to be able to output as much damage as possible. And V can create as much confusion. That's what they want to do. Go for that flank play.
Well, that potential pick-off with the Deadly Flourish on someone. As you can see, Martin was the target right there.
Martin's going to be the biggest target. He is the glass cannon. One and only. Syndra would do just as fine, though.
You can see now Scatter the Weaks flying through to clear out this wave. Snake able to get up to this inhibitor at least. It's Deadly Flourish to try and clear out minions, but not so much more happening. Can't quite get the minion wave up there. The inhibitor untouched right now with this low range AD carry. It's difficult to get in there. SOFM was thinking about bopping it.
They can't put damage. They really need to wait until this bot lane farm really starts to crash. So we could be in a long wait here.
Yeah, tank continues to put down the Dark Seals. But this inhibitor still no way for Snake to really close distance on it. They're not gaining too much. Of course, you're right. That is a very big wave on the bottom side of the map. Good stun onto Swift.
There is no way for anyone on Snake to actually put down some damage without getting damaged. Like, they can't touch this they really just can't touch this inhib. They need to wait, and finally this wave is crashing. This is their time to walk in.
We'll see whether they can do it. There's the headbutt pulverize onto SOFM, but the on the hunt is already off from Snake.
Swift is down.
Gets obliterated, but does have the G8. V finds his way in, flashes forward. The Hemoplague's doing work, but you can see the ultimate comes down from the Tarek. Headbutt pulve comes in. V with
Mars
the, oh
down.
my god, Martin flashes out of the way. Double kill from Dade, though. He's looking for this Sivir, but can he get in there? V uses the pull, and Martin gets stunned, but look at the damage. Double kill comes in. He will fall down. Happy's dead.
Flandre's still
but
alive.
V is so incredibly low. Flandre over to the side. It's jungler and top laner versus jungler and mid, and that fight could not have been closer.
Yeah, so it looks like that's a 3 for 2 right now. Of course, jungler and top.
Oh yeah,
laner's
sorry,
up.
Swift still, Dade and V still alive.
Yeah, honestly, they were so close to dying, incredibly close. But that was a close one. That was a really good call from Newbee. Newbee at every point where they are in desperate need of an engage, Moore is able to put it out. And so, honestly, it just comes down to Snake needing to play a little bit safer, perhaps. They need to recognize that's the only play that's going to happen, because that wave was coming down to hit that turret. They knew Vladimir was preoccupied with it, and now it looks like they have another Desperation Baron play for Newbee.
Oh, looks like the pincer move to come in here as well from Newbee as Dade is going to make his way around the side. Flandre gets another silence field over the top, and now Snake. 3 members of Newbee in the pit. Dazzle not going to find Dade as SOFM going to make sure that this is going to be a 50-50. Headbutted out of the pit, but still has gap closing ability. No flash there as he gets himself and steals the Baron again. Nether Grasp over the side. Swift is going to die. Chaos Storm doing a lot of work, but Flandre speeds up, and look at Tank's damage in the backline. It's an obliteration, and Happy's the only man standing on Newbee.
SOFM with another Baron steal, and he's going to look down. Happy, recognizes exactly where he is.
Well, slow doesn't land from SOFM, who does have to respect the damage coming out of this guy. Deadly Forest doesn't land, though, and Jay-Z looking to close the gap. Scrying Orb comes down. Happy says,
they're just holding him here.
Yeah, Tarek.
They're going to end the game with this.
This is ridiculous. Baroned up minions are going to be coming in as well, so Nexus turret's under fire. Happy realizing he's on the wrong side of the map, but just can't get there in time. Nexus now under fire, and Snake, they're going to take game 2, and once again, with turnaround decisive play.
That is ridiculous. Such an incredible series. But honestly, Newbee must feel really terrible about that.
Yeah.
Another Baron steal costing the game.
And it's Snake capitalizing on Newbee decisions.
Yeah.
Throughout this series, it's what it's been. They've been able to mop up choices that they've made and turn them around. That time was, of course, very different. They still had a 5,000 gold lead, but Newbee had come out on top of that last fight. They had this composition that wanted to scale. And Snake were able to take it. Congratulations, well-deserved bow for this team. And Group A has exploded this week. It's ridiculous.
They really have. That was a game that it's so difficult to explain, right?
Yeah.
Going back and forth the entire set, really, both games. And it really just comes off the back that I would be incredibly surprised if SOFM doesn't get a second MVP for that one.
Yeah.
Because Snake, they find themselves in these positions where they're about to come and get the killing blow, right? 2 times that's happened. And Moore was able to pretty much get those clutch engages to pretty much save their team. But then, of course, it always comes back to Baron, and he's always able to get the steal. SOFM really putting on his scary pants.
His smites are just incredible. I don't quite understand how you do it. There were 3 members of Newbee that were sitting in that pit. Elise has an execute ability on her Q.
Yeah.
And that smite available.
Exactly.
Just SOFM over the side, gets the body slam in there at the perfect time, steals away the Baron, and then it's just the tank show. So much AoE damage in that tight-knit corridor. So many stuns after you throw down that ultimate and then get that scat of the week. And Syndra coming up with her 2nd victory now in the LPL. Of course, Wayless first, now tank.
And so here's the thing. The constant term is 50-50, right? If you go for the Baron, it's a 50-50 play. Well, actually, that was just an outright 80-20. For both games, right? Like, his team, legitimately, Swift's team is doing an incredible job at denying SOFM from getting in the pit. But he's going to be able to flash in. You have to get that smite.
That's exactly right. But The day of 2-0 victories started with EDG taking down Saint in game number 1. Of course, game number 2, an incredibly surprising Invictus Gaming destroyed Game Talents in another extraordinarily swift series. Coming from the underdog position in 5th there, now looking to try and challenge Newbee, who are do or die. It all comes down to Newbee versus Invictus Gaming next week. You do not want to miss that Group A clash because, of course, they couldn't manage to do it against Snake, who won that one 2-0. And as the standings stand now, 14-0 for EDG, 9-5 for Snake, definitely in that second place. Game Town, 6-9, 5-10 for Newbee, 4-10 for IG. And Saint still on 1-13. It is all about that 4th place. And I personally feel like IG has the edge.
It really does feel like that. From IG's play alone, doesn't matter if they're behind, they are playing better.
Exactly right. But tomorrow night we go back to Group B. LGD versus WE, IME versus Vici, and OMG then try and take down Royal Never Give Up for our last day of the LPL. Group B, very exciting stuff. We were thinking that Group A was not necessarily going to be up in that league as far as competitiveness, but I've been loving it. The Group A hype train, I'm well and truly on it.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if it's just because the games are much more fun, much more back and forth, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like 100%, especially IG, really starting to play much more like a team, starting to play like an actual topside team.
Yeah, exactly right. And SOFM is going to be able to get that MVP one more time. Raz called it.
There we go.
He said he stole another Baron. It's an 80-20. Got to give it to him. So SOFM really starting to stack up those MVP points.
Yeah, look at this.
This one play.
Their entire team. Look at Newbee. They were just trying to stop him. Moore even got the head, like the pulverized, threw him up in the air. Doesn't matter. Still gets the Baron. Like at this point, really, you just got to look at the mirror, Swift. I don't want to call people out. But just look yourself in the mirror.
Let's just say that it was an incredible smite timing from SOFM. Yeah. And I'm not going to blame it on Swift, although he probably had the priority as far as that one was concerned. However, it did make for an incredibly exciting series. Of course, it was a very quick day today, but the games so explosive. IG looking phenomenal. EDG, of course, always looking phenomenal, the most consistent team here in the LPL.
Yeah.
And then Snake really coming out on top, looking clutch. I mean, the only question mark I really had was how effective Martin was able to be towards the later stages of the game, but it may have had something to do with composition, right, Raz?
That's true. And so really, they were struggling to get hits on structures, but quite honestly, it just comes back to team fights. And if you're able to get those clutch team fights win, you will win that game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of tonight. On behalf of myself, Raz, of course, Proskerin, and Fish, who were on earlier on, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.